Hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe. And today I just want to do my one and only video about the coaching search for the New Orleans Saints, our beloved, bless you boys, in black and gold. The New Orleans Saints coaching search is going to heat up here in the next 2 weeks. We're probably going to have an answer in the next 3 weeks, 3 weeks and a couple of days, maybe, because I think the front runner right now is probably Joe Brady. I don't think Aaron Glenn gets out of Detroit without an offer. I'm recording this video at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time on January 21st, Tuesday. So Glenn is visiting the Jets today. Haven't heard anything definitive coming out yet, but I have heard the reports that there is an executive from Detroit's front office who is up for the GM job for the Jets. And if that happens and Aaron Glenn becomes the head coach, it seems appropriate. And, Aaron Glenn's beloved in New York. He played there for 7 or 8 years, and the fans love him. It's not unlike if, let's say, Demario Davis was a head coach candidate, and he had his choice between the Jets, where he played, and the Saints, where he played most of his career and has those deep ties and a fan base that loves him and everything else. Maybe the Jets fans love Demario Davis, but not quite as much as we do. I think that's the situation Aaron Glenn's in. I don't I don't like the idea of working for the Jets. I think they're one of the cursed franchises in existence, along with the Raiders and the Browns. The Saints were cursed at one point. We lifted the curse. The Jets made a Super Bowl back in the 60s or early 70s, so, and won. So it's been a while since they've been there. And yeah, I think everything that goes to New York for the Jets ends up failing miserably. And I think of all-time greats like Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, who didn't really get much going there. I mean, no Super Bowl. I just don't see it. So good luck to Aaron Glenn, and I understand why he would want to go where the fans there already adore him. He probably will get uh, a bigger opportunity, a longer stay through failure, as other coaches in New York's history haven't. So I think Aaron Glenn will get a fair shake. I think he'll get about 3 years, and he might not get that from somebody else with the Jets. That's how I feel. As far as Joe Brady goes, I think really it comes down to Joe Brady and, quite honestly, Mike Kafka. And nobody is giving Mike Kafka a chance. He last time he was a play caller for the Giants went to the playoffs with Daniel Jones as their quarterback. And, Kafka might be in one of them situations where, he's what he does good is obscured by all the other garbage going on around him. And maybe because he's so young and, into this, that perhaps he's not prepared to be a head coach. And I think of Sean Payton, and I think of the similar circumstances he went through, where he was the play caller for the Giants and got demoted to not calling the plays. And Jim Fossil, I think, was the coach at the time. The Giants ended up going to the Super Bowl, but it wasn't until Sean Payton quit calling plays that they turned it around. And that was in Sean Payton's past, along with stints with the Eagles. And then I guess when we got him, he was coming off of being with Bill Parcells and the Cowboys. So it's kind of like an offensive coordinator who you think might be good, but there's a lot of stuff going on around him. Whether Fossil was right in his call or not, maybe he was. Maybe Sean Payton wasn't cutting it then. But he figured it out eventually. We gave him a shot. He figured it out. I'm just saying the resume for Sean Payton wasn't all spectacular when we got him. Is Mike Kafka the next Sean Payton? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, and it'll take a long dang time before we figure it out. But I think he is on that short list. So ideally, maybe the Saints front office would like Aaron Glenn above those others, but those others are offensive minded coaches. That's what I think the Saints need. An offensive minded coach, have a yes man as your coordinator. Don't ever have to worry about him going anywhere. And if he did, it didn't matter because your head coach is calling everything anyway. And we're just going to have to hope that the defensive coordinator sticks, is successful and sticks. And if somebody comes and tries to pluck him to be a head coach, you know, we'll be entrenched. We'll elevate a line coach or a linebacker coach or secondary coach or whatever, and or we'll go and get a whole other coach, Steve Spagnuolo or Greg Williams or Rob Ryan, and if that doesn't work, then maybe we'll get Dennis Allen. That's what Sean Payton had to do before. He had to keep getting them. When he got Greg Williams, we had great success, and then that whole thing happened, and then we never really had success again until Dennis Allen showed up. And yeah, I would rather go through that, have a offensive head coach, offensive system that stays in place constantly, and work the kinks out with the defense. By the way, I think Dennis Allen's going to become the next defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. That hasn't been announced yet, but that's where I think the winds are blowing. So we get to play the Bears next year. We get to play Dennis Allen. That's what I'm predicting. And yeah, that's why I did this video. Let you guys know what I think. My heart's kind of with Joe Brady. I think Joe Brady is the one that getting a job in Louisiana would put him in the situation where the fans around him love him and adore him. And I think the reason why is because, LSU, of course. And we'll want him to succeed. We'll be pulling for him to succeed in so many different levels as a fan base. And I think he would, enjoy that. Like, does it really matter? Maybe not. I just know that when Aaron Glenn is the head coach of the Jets, everywhere he goes, he's going to be loved. And if he was the head coach of the Saints, everywhere he goes, people would probably be like, "Hey, make sure you're better than Dennis Allen." Right? It's not a lot, but I think Joe Brady would feel the love here, unlike most other places he could go. And I think he's young, and maybe he's learned from some bumps and bruises with Carolina, and hopefully he's learned a lot from the coaches he's served under before, including Sean Payton. And hopefully Joe Brady can be that next young offensive mind that becomes a good head coach. Everyone buys into the system, and we have a lot of success. It would be nice. And my runner-up is Mike Kafka. So if Joe Brady ends up somewhere else, let's not get too disappointed if Kafka ends up the head coach. As I think about the early years of Sean Payton, and a lot of people could have had the same opinion about him. And hopefully, there's a brilliant coach there. All right, I'm Joe. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10 for more videos like this about the Saints. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?